Russia-Ukraine war live, Slovakia to send 8 Zuzana-2 howitzers to Ukraine. Russia-Ukraine war has now entered day 99 with Moscow's forces reportedly closing in on the eastern Ukrainian city of Severodonetsk. U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged more advanced rocket systems and munitions as the conflict continues unabated. However, Kremlin accused Washington of adding fuel to the fire. Slovakia to send 8 Zuzana-2 howitzers to Ukraine. Slovakia is sending 8 Zuzana-2 self-propelled howitzers to Ukraine as the two countries signed a contract, Slovak Defense Minister Yaroslav Nagy informed on Twitter. 800 civilians shelter in Izo factory as Russia shells Severodonetsk. At least 800 civilians, including children, are sheltering inside the Izo chemical factory in the key eastern Ukrainian city of Severodonetsk, which has come under heavy shelling by the Russians. Serhiy Haidai, the governor of Luhansk region, told American broadcaster CNN that civilians had sought shelter in the Soviet-era bomb shelters as Russia's forces make attempts to capture entire region. There are locals there, who were asked to leave the city. But they refused. There are also children there, but not many of them, governor of Luhansk region told the outlet, adding that Terry's fear of accident as factory houses stocks of dangerous chemicals. Zelenskyy says Russia's military fired 15 cruise missiles into Ukraine. Speaking at a security conference in Slovakia, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy asked for more weapons and sanctions targeted. Russia had fired 15 cruise missiles in the past day and used a total of 2,478 missiles invading Ukraine on February 24, most of them targeted civil infrastructure, Ukraine's leader informed in a video address. As of today, the occupiers control almost 20% of our territory. Almost 125,000 square kilometers, 48,262 square miles, he said. Russia warns West against creating unpleasant scenarios amidst war. As the United States, Britain, and Germany pledged medium-range rocket systems to Ukraine, Russia warned the West against creating absolutely undesirable and rather unpleasant scenarios amidst the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters in Moscow that there will be elevated risks and consequences if Western-supplied weapons were fired into Russia. This pumping of Ukraine with weapons will bring more suffering to Ukraine, which is merely a tool in the hands of those countries that supply it with weapons. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov was quoted by Russia's state-affiliated news agencies as saying, UK sending MLRS to Kyiv to shoot down Russian aircrafts. UK is sending sophisticated medium-range rocket systems to Ukraine, joining the United States and Germany to help the war-embattled nation to shoot down Russian aircraft and knock out artillery. Western arms have been critical to Ukraine's success in stymieing Russia's much larger and better equipped military during a war now in its 99th day. But as Russian forces closed in on a key city in recent days, the Ukrainian government said its fighters needed better rocket launchers to prevail. Russia has occupied 20% of Ukraine, says Zelenskyy. Russia is now occupying 20% of Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said in a recorded message. In a video addressing Luxembourg's parliament, Zelenskyy said that Russian forces have captured several of the Ukrainian territories, roughly 3,620 Ukrainian settlements, since February 24. As many as 1,017 settlements have been liberated, and 2,603 are still occupied, he told Luxembourg's parliament. Ireland recognizes Russia's invasion of Ukraine as genocide. Ireland has recognized the ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine as genocide. Irish Senator Mark Daly announced that the Irish Senate had adopted the resolution on June 1 that officially recognizes the atrocities committed by Russia in Ukraine as genocide. Lawmakers in Ireland are urging the leaders worldwide to strengthen sanctions against Russia and oppose its war, as well as ban the imports of Russian oil, gas, and coal, which are funding the Russian war machine. Donetsk under constant rocket fire, says Ukrainian official. Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine is constantly under rocket fire, and at least 7 people have been killed and 10 more others have been wounded in the last 24 hours, head of the Donetsk military administration Pavlo Kirilenko said in an official update. Cities of Bakhmut and Sloviansk have been under the heavy Russian bombardment, Kirilenko informed. Russia's armored forces have been moving along Lymanisium direction to capture Sloviansk and Kramatorsk territories, and have been attempting to advance from Bakhmut to Lysychansk. The entire region has been under heavy enemy fire, he said. Putin, Senegalese president to discuss freeing up stocks of cereals. Russian President, Vladimir Putin, and Senegalese President Macky Sall are set to meet on June 3, Friday, and discuss freeing up stocks of cereals and fertilizers, the head of the African Union, Senegalese President Macky Sall's office said. The meeting will take place in the southwestern Russian city of Sochi, and is being arranged on the suggestion of Russia's president by Putin. Sall will also travel with the president of the African Union Commission. Putin, Sall's meeting aims to hold discussions about freeing up stocks of cereals and fertilizers, the blockage of which particularly affects African countries, as well as the Ukraine conflict. Sall's office. Ukraine military intensifies counterattacks in majorly occupied Severodonetsk. Ukraine's military has ramped up the counteroffensives in the eastern city of Severodonetsk, which is now majorly being controlled by the Russians. According to the regional Ukrainian military official, Terry's last strongholds in the eastern region of Luhansk, where Ukraine's army is still putting up a strong resistance. Head of the Luhansk military administration, Serhiy Haidai, said on Telegram that despite Russia's claims that they have captured the entire city of Severodonetsk, the Ukrainians were still fighting with 10,000-strong Russian troops. They don't control the whole city, fighting is going on, Haidai said. 7 killed, 26 injured in past 24 hours in Ukraine. At least 7 people have died and 26 others have been critically injured in the past 24 hours, Ukrainian officials said. We are being shelled from all sides, Vitaly Kim, head of Mykolaiv Regional Military Administration, reportedly said. At least 6 areas were targeted by mortars and artillery heavily, and Russians used Mi-24 helicopters to launch air assaults in South. 243 children so far killed in war, says Zelenskyy. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said that at least 243 children have been killed so far in the war and 200,000 children have been relocated to Russia forcefully. These include children from the orphanages, as well as those taken along with their parents. Many were also separated from the family, the Ukrainian leader said in a recorded message on the International Children's Day. 243 children have been killed, 446 have been wounded and 139 are missing, claimed the Ukrainian leader. 200,000 children have been forcefully taken to Russia, he stressed. Ukraine cannot be conquered, that our people will not surrender and our children will not become the property of the occupiers, said Zelenskyy. Netherlands announces major hike in military spending since Cold War. Dutch government has announced the major hike in the defense spending since the Cold War era. Military spending since the end of the Cold War, due to the threats in the world and the war. Netherlands Defense Minister Kees Ollongren emphasized that the peace and security cannot be taken for granted as he boosts the defense funds by €5 billion, £4.27 billion, per year. The country will purchase the military hardware such as 6 new F-35 fighter jets and a doubling of its MQ-9 Reaper drones from 4 to 8, according to the reports. Russia warns foreign mercenaries fighting in Ukraine are criminally liable. The Russian military on Thursday warned that mercenaries of foreign nations fighting in Ukraine are criminally liable, according to a report by Lithuania. Turkey signed deal to supply Ukraine with Bayraktar drone. Lithuania's Minister of National Defense reports on a new agreement with Turkey to supply Ukraine with a Bayraktar drone. Saudi Arabia ready to increase oil production if Russia limits production, report. Saudi Arabia has said that it is ready to ramp up oil production if Russia decides to limit its own production due to sanctions imposed by the Western nations, according to a report by Financial Times. This came after the kingdom previously repeatedly rejected demands from the West to increase its production of oil. African Union had to speak to Putin on June 3. The head of the African Union, Senegalese President Macky Sall, will speak with President Vladimir Putin in the southwestern Russian city of Sochi on Friday, June 3, according to his. Sall will travel to Russia with the President of the African Union Commission. The aim of the meeting is freeing up stocks of cereals and fertilizers, the blockage of which particularly affects African countries. Ukraine's defense minister thanks Biden for sending advanced rocket systems. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksiy Reznikov has publicly thanked U.S. President Joe Biden for sending HIMARS rockets. In a Twitter post, Reznikov said, "I was pleased to see in the 11th package of military aid to Ukraine the 6 letters for which the whole country has been waiting,